Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Ryan here, and today I'm going for a walk. Thought you might hang out with me, and I'm gonna go through my notes, make some notes, share some thoughts that I put in my Evernote, and maybe teach you some interesting stuff, or really just teach myself some stuff that I've been thinking about lately. And one of the things I've been thinking about lately was habits. How do you change your habits? How do you improve your habits? And one of them was you have to find a way, whether it be a good habit or a bad habit, you need to find a way to interrupt the habit as it occurs, whether it's good or bad. Like, for example, snacking, being lazy. It's almost like seeing yourself crash or seeing yourself make a mistake and then acknowledge that you're making a mistake. Or not even, that's too harsh of a word. To acknowledge that you're making a certain behavior pattern and that acknowledge that you're doing this thing and you're trying to change it. So, for example, one of the behaviors that is very difficult is that every time I get water in my house, it has one of those water dispensers in the freezer. I open the refrigerator, and almost always, I open the refrigerator looking for something to eat. That is a habit. So if I could acknowledge myself doing that because I'm opening the fridge, I can change it if I really want to. But the first step is acknowledging the issue. Another thing that I find difficult about making these videos, I'm walking and cars pass by, and I feel how uncomfortable. I don't know why, I just do. I feel weird. But if I acknowledge it enough, I can be aware of it and I can control it. Because a lot of the time when we feel uncomfortable, or we don't like something about ourselves, or feel weird about something, it's good to acknowledge that you feel weird about it, because in that way you can maybe understand it and get your head wrapped around it. What is it that you do when you're bored, right? When you're bored, what do? Always grab your phone, open Facebook, it's kind of like my habit, check email. It's one of those things that you just do. So when you're bored, or you're afraid of being bored, or you worry about being bored or having nothing to do, what do? Do you go to the fridge? Actually, I'm actually curious, if you're watching this far into my video, what do you do? What are some common things that you do when you are bored? What's the first thing you think about or do? This other concept I like really much is the middle brain. I kind of came up with this idea. It's sort of your habit brain. It's called the basal ganglia. And you have your neocortex, which is the stuff you see at the top here, which is the intestines on top of your head looking thing. And then you have the base, the bottom, like the brainstem and stuff. That's where all your primary emotions are, like hunger and sex and stuff like that. And most of the time you're dealing with that. You're having to fight those unconscious emotions of fear, anger, pleasure, appetite, food. There are things that just kind of, it's like when you feel something. When you feel something, and sometimes you know why, sometimes you don't, but the point is you're feeling something. Maybe something you saw Donald Trump do, or maybe you saw the Vegas thing. I mean, you have these bad feelings. Like, even when I mention the Vegas thing, if you know what I'm talking about, it makes you feel something a little bit already. Especially if you were in Vegas. It's kind of hard to not think about it. But that's what that is. That's your primitive brain, your monkey brain, your lizard brain, your reptilian brain that automatically fires. And then you have your neocortex, which is what I'm using primarily. There's I think, I forget if it's left or right, but you have the thinking brain, you have the creative brain. And those are the parts of the brain that essentially do the higher level thinking, like recording this video. Typically a lot of walking, like I'm doing now, a bunch of creative stuff, physical stuff, math. And the middle brain I'm talking about, which is the basal ganglia. And that is the habit. So those are like a bunch of automatic shortcut keys, automatic processes. Like I mentioned earlier about opening the refrigerator. The moment I open the refrigerator, when I get water from the fridge, I open the refrigerator. It's an automatic cue. So the moment I get water. And why do I open the refrigerator? Well, because there might be something new in the fridge. Some sort of treat. Some mental stimulation because I'm bored watching my water cup fill, right? So I'm trying to figure out a way to deal with my boredom, but also I'm seeking pleasure. So that's kind of like the cue of filling water is open the fridge, because there is a immediate reward, or there's a reward that I feel. This is why I like talking about this stuff, is because, well, for myself, I like to notice my own rewards, right? What is it that drives me? Because if you can't tell, I make these videos. I do a lot of introspection. Like, I like to ponder and think and make sense of things. It's sort of, and we all do it, but some people people like me, or the way I like to do it, is like talk about it and share it with the world in my writing or making a video. And it's trying to understand and sort of decode yourself. And in my case, I like doing it, I have to say, because I want to be able to get more for myself, right? Figure out my own programming, because we all have some sort of operating system or a set of rules that we follow, some conscious, a lot of it unconscious. Like, how often have you heard or felt or know someone that says they want to lose weight, but they can't, they don't lose weight, right? They know they should exercise, they should diet, but then they don't, right? Like, deep down, we want these things. And then or some of us do, and then we can't do it, right? Because of the unconscious patterns that we don't know how to change or don't know what to deal with. So we just basically give up. I mean, we try, some of us will try to think about changing it, maybe, make a bet with a friend, or wait till the New Year's resolution, or wait till you turn 30 or 40 or 50. Other times, like me, I'm just going day by day, trying to figure out how to get more, right? So like right now, I have no need to like lose a ton of weight, but I do want to, right? So one thing for me for sure is fear is a big driver. This is the hardest thing about what makes habits difficult. Trying to change bad habits, start good habits, is essentially what you have to do is you have to admit your mistakes, right? You have to admit that what you're doing is not effective or not good or could be better, right? And if you don't have the humility or you have a humongous ego, it's difficult to admit that because no one wants to be wrong, right? No one wants to be told they made a bad purchasing decision. No one wants to admit they have made a bad deal or made a bad investment, because a lot of the time, a lot of us struggle with self-confidence as it is, right? So we have to, I guess, lie to ourselves. But that's actually a really bad way of looking at it. And then to be totally honest, that's kind of how I used to look at it. People lie to themselves. And we do. I say it in sort of a tongue-in-cheek way. But what I really mean is that when we lie to ourselves, what I'm saying is that fake self-confidence or fake confidence is understanding that there's like this pull and push. There's this balance between the quality of your confidence, if that makes any sense. Sort of having the humility to realize that you may not know everything, that there might be a better way. And this is not always easy, right? And that's kind of like one of the books that's helped me a lot was Ego is the Enemy. Because every time I feel uncomfortable, every time I feel fearful, every time I see change coming, it usually is a good indicator of ego, right? It sort of means that my whole world is collapsing and about to fall apart. I know that sounds a little bit dramatic, but that's what's happening. Your whole world is about to fall apart. And it's dramatic. It's dramatic because it isn't going to fall apart. It just means that you have a new piece of information, or a sort of a new vantage point of things. Like think about what's most polarizing in politics or in the world, right? Democrats, Republicans, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, gun control, welfare, deportation, the wall that Trump wants to build. These are very controversial topics. And I'm not really going to say, I don't really have, my opinion is kind of irrelevant. My point is that if you could see the other person's point of view, if you can see their point of view, if you can actually argue for your enemy, think about like what that would do for your perspective. And that also makes it hard because the thing is that being able to see from someone else's perspective, but then still disagree, and accept that, hey, they can feel the way they want about what they want to feel and be okay with it. Because a lot of the time, the truth is, a lot of us don't like that. My shoulder's getting tired. Gotta lower the phone here. A lot of us don't like when people don't agree with us. And we want to pretend that we do. Oh, it's okay, you disagree with me. But then there's that monkey brain, that lizard brain at the base of your skull that goes, what do you mean you don't believe me? What do you mean you don't see the world like I do? What do you mean? And that's it takes a great deal of maturity, right? It takes a great deal of experience to sort of morph that disagreement into realizing, hey, maybe he or she does have a point, and it doesn't mean that you have to fight them or you have to say mean things to them. It just means they have their point of view. They have their right. They are their own person. And that's sometimes when people disagree with us, we think that almost like a personal attack. You know, just think about this. Someone who really, a devout Christian, someone who really believes in God, right? And then you have an atheist, right? I mean, it's pretty hard for a very true believer, quote unquote, of God to really see the perspective of an atheist, right? Which is kind of why one of the books I'm reading to my kids, has a series of books, but it's called Wonder. It talks a lot about this, about being kind. You know, when you ever feel like when you want to be right or you want to be kind, try to err on the side of being kind, you know? And in a way, you know, it's a bad way to say that, oh, you're being nice. I mean, it's just that freaking cliche saying, you know, treat people like you want to be treated, you know? I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Now, how did I get all the way here after talking about habits? Well, I came here talking about habits because the way our habits, the way we interact with people is very habitual, right? The way we respond to people is very habitual. When someone disagrees with us, it's a habit, right? The way we respond, you know? Like I have a tendency to have verbal disagreements or how do you say? I like to disagree with people a lot. And you know, it's not that I do like disagreeing because I like to talk about stuff. I like to hear people's argument. I like to hear people's perspective, and I want more conviction out of people, right? It's kind of weird. But the problem is when you disagree with people, that monkey brain kicks in, right? And people get defensive. So to change the habit, you sort of have to, like, again, going to this thing and trying to change your habits or improve your habits or have better habits, is you have to sort of be aware. You have to be aware of when that monkey brain kicks in, when it goes, danger, someone doesn't agree with me, danger, we're going to run out of food, danger, we're going to run out of money, right? It's being aware of that and learning how to dance with that feeling. Anyways, this video has gone quite long enough. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'll make more videos of these as I do my walks. And I kind of like it because then I can pause and I can edit a little bit. And I can edit while I walk because that's what makes iPhone really dope, because you can really edit everything on iPhone with iMovie pretty fast. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.